This is the Fisherman Offshore Report from Montauk Point, New York. And we start off with the boys from Canyon Runner. What do you got?
All right, welcome to the Offshore Reports, everyone at Fisherman. We are happy to be here. We're going to start walking you through some offshore reports with some interactive video with our CR map. Basically, what we're going to do is walk through a week's worth of fishing. We're going to start with the weather. We're going to start with the water temperature, but long and short, this is just a microcosm of like one day, last day of August. These are the boats fishing. We have this for every day, and we're going to go through it over the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. This is just one August 31st day worth of fishing up and down the coast. We're working with each and every one of these boats. And you can see in a minute here as we walk through the water temperature, you can see why they went where they went, what they were doing, and what you should be doing on your next trip. But let's start with the weather. As we pick up and look at where we are with the weather, we're always looking at one thing. We're trying to look at the big picture. And the big picture is going to be, where are all the boats? Where's the high pressure systems? Where's the low pressure systems? What's going on overall with the picture? Now we're going to look forward. Week of the 8th, fishing this week is going to be tough. We've got a hard nor'easter coming. And the reason is this high pressure system. So take a step back on weather. Weather is the only problem with weather forecasting is the forecasters aren't honest. They really can't forecast out more than 24 to 36 hours during most of the summer. As we get into a fall weather pattern, and we are hard into a fall weather pattern, they really only can get accurate 12 to 24 hours out. We look at big picture things where there's a little more accuracy, and the big pictures are, where are your highs and lows? And as we scroll forward on our Canyon Runner maps, and we have 4 different weather models. Down here are your weather models. We will show you how we're going to look through all 4 of them. But we've got big high pressure systems above us for the whole week. We've got this constant, and these are our boats. I'm going to hide our boats right now so you don't see anyone. We've got these constant easterly fetch the whole week. We're going to have these little windows perhaps, and you can see it here on Thursday, into Friday, and then we're going to have the northeast come back in. We've seen it for a few days now, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's basically unfishable. We have a window. We're all going to be looking hard at this window Thursday, Friday. Depending on what weather model, and there's multiple models, we have 4 or 5 of them in our system we can look at. We are looking at some windows. Here's Thursday around noon to Friday around noon. And then a couple of the forecasts look like it's going to be pretty good for the weekend. Other ones look like it's going to blow northeast 20. And that's actually what we want to show you. So I'm just going to put it right in the middle of where everyone is fishing. We're not going to spend, otherwise we spend a half an hour going up and down the coast, but we'll put it right in the middle of New Jersey. We have equal amount of people above and below us. Right here, we can easily see 4 different forecast models. Okay. And as you scroll out and look for the next 24 hours or so, they're all almost identical. But as you get further out, Thursday morning, can we fish Thursday morning? Well, 3 of them are 15, and this is northeast. 1 of them's 20. And by the way, these are just sustained winds. And as you get further out, you can see Friday, we've got some at 8 knots, some at 16, completely different. We can compare them even a little bit better. Here's the full forecast as we go out, showing you wind gusts as well. Here's your little bit of weather window is right here on Thursday, Friday, because as we get to Saturday, we've got one of them. The ECM, by the way, is the one we think's the best. Saying Saturday, the weekend, we're going to have gusts to 23, 25, 16. The whole Saturday's blown out. But then you look at, say, the GFS. That's what NOAA uses. Thursday, Friday, Saturday look beautiful. All right. That's what I want you to focus on. Look at the difference between the 2 main forecasts. One has northeast gusts to 25. One has virtually no wind. That's why we don't look that far out. But in the short time, as we're recording this, which is basically Tuesday afternoon, we're looking 24 to 36 hours out. We got a window to fish Thursday. So where are we going to go? One of the biggest issues when you have weather like this is you don't have any intel. Yeah, it's great during the season with great weather. Look, we have 1 million boats out all the time. On just any one given day, we've got 75 or so boats fishing. We get great real-time intel. But what do you do when you're sitting at the dock for multiple days? You actually have to read the water. You can go and see where the fish were, but we're going to watch the water. So these are our water temperature charts, and I'm going to go through everything in a second. These are for a week's worth of fishing. These were all the boats, were all these dotted lines are our boat and our boat map and where they were. You click on each dot, you get specific information off of them. But let's look at the water temperature first, then we'll go to chlorophyll. So here's water temperature. I will hide the boats for a second. All that's left on here is our pro staff boats. And you can see certain things we were looking at this year. We've got a major eddy here. We had one here. It got absorbed into the Gulf Stream. This eddy we've been looking at for months. It's been started way out here. It's slowly worked in. It's staying nice together. You could see where there's an edge to this water. It's 71 to like 67. It's not a major edge. You could actually see it better when we overlay chlorophyll. But when I put all these boats back, you can see everyone's fishing. We call it the backside of the water. This is where fish perennially will set up and you'll have your best bite. You could just see where the boats are running to here. As you come west, you could see the water's a little bit colder. One of the things we look at, sometimes it stands out even more, is chlorophyll. Here's your chlorophyll shot. You can see blue Gulf Stream water in the eddy, greener mixed water here. The chlorophyll doesn't look half bad in here. This is actually pretty nice, but there's such great fishing here. And you can see there aren't a lot of boats fishing in this area. It's because it's just kind of the same blended water all along. There's no hard edges. What you're always looking for when it comes to water is these hard edges. That's where the fish will be. They're not always going to be there. We've got our folks, as we know, up in New England, in the Vineyard, in Nantucket. Usually you would get, I'll hide all our track lines again. Usually you would get yellowfins up in this nice blue water. It's warm enough. You can see it's 68, 69 degrees. There's a nice edge here. These are places to look. Our commercial fishing friends are up here catching squid, but the yellowfins, the tunas haven't found them. But where there's an edge, it's usually you're going to find a fish. We just have a lot of edges here, and we've got a lot of good water. You're just getting scattered bites in between. When we're primarily talking yellowfin when it comes to blue water, when it comes to these 68, 72 degree temperature breaks, we're looking for yellowfin and big eye and stuff like that. Bluefin, when we will talk to plenty of that too, a little less tied to the water. Bluefin's an amazing species. They can live in 50 degree green water. They can live in 80 degree Gulf Stream water. So it's not always tied to it, but it's one of the best ways to locate your bait. And if you're going to locate bait, you're going to locate the fish. And we see it here as we come west. We can look at the chlorophyll. Temperature is not going to show you as much on this. If I scroll back, look, if you look at just the temperature, you don't see anything extra special out here. I will hide the members again. I will pop on our rec information. Here's the Bacardi. This is the Bacardi wreck right here. You're going to see a ton of activity east of the Bacardi. There's all the boats I'm going to for a week. It was good here. For anyone, we're not going to do a recap of the season, but we had 8 to 10 great weeks of fishing. The Virginia, the Bacardi, triple wrecks. It died off for maybe about 2 weeks after that hurricane that came through during one of the major tournaments. Turned back on again recently. But this doesn't look linked to any water, right? It's basically 70 degrees everywhere. If I slowly move the cursor, 71, that's about it. But if you overlay water temperature, you can see something very interesting. If you overlay the chlorophyll over the water temperature, now we see, okay, so we actually have squid here. And that's why the yellowfin showed back up again. A few of the commercial squid draggers are in here working. There's plenty of squid here. There's decent water. It's blue. It's water that yellowfins like. There's bait. They're probably not going to go anywhere. So before we get out again, short of maybe a couple of the big party boats getting out, letting us know that there are fish there, and there are. That's what's been good. They couple of the bigger party boats fished in this really rough conditions the last couple of days, and the yellowfins are still there. But as long as this water stays up here with the bait there, the yellowfin will be there. And that's probably what's going to be the strategy this week where most people will head. As we come down the line a little bit more, we put these track lines back on, you're going to see beautiful. This is really, really nice water. Sometimes, folks, it sounds pretty counterintuitive, but there could be too much good water. And that's kind of one of the things we're looking at. Instead of having a sharp edge over here. And the fishing, and I should touch on it, the fishing that's going on over here is some of the best fishing we've ever seen. You have boats going out on 24-hour trips, catching 5 to 10 big eyes. And when we say unlimited amount of yellowfin, like they're catching 30, 40, 50, 60 yellowfin. They're trying to get away from them so they can catch the big eyes. It's the sharpest break on the map, and it's no coincidence that that's why the fishing's that great there. The problem is, as you come down the rest of the way, look, there's no edge anywhere. It's all the same beautiful, bright blue water. There's nothing to speak of when it comes to tuna in here, and there's plenty of boats looking. But this is white marlin fishing. This is a week's worth of boats out of Cape May, Ocean City, Atlantic City, Indian River, white marlin fishing. And again, no definitive break. So some days you'll have a good bite up in the Linden Call. You'll have some fish, the Wilmington, the Baltimore, right on down the line. One day they'll be 10 miles below the Washington. The next day they'll be 3 miles above the Port Man's. The fish are just swimming back and forth in this water. They are kind of staying on the edge of it. And as they will typically do as you get to the middle of September, they are getting a little bit shallower. 2 weeks ago, before we started these calls, all these track lines, they all would have been out here. All right, but what's happening is the fish, and they're moving in, they're getting where the most bait is. The most bait is up inside 100 fathoms, and they're catching in here. By the way, if we click on one of these dots, I want to show you something. One of the things we do with water temperature is these are more than half our boats here on this map have Starlink. If a boat has Starlink, so we're going to get real-time data off these boats. And as you go in here and you click on this, you're going to see the Restless Lady was fishing in 72-degree water. They were just inside the change, but we just said the fish are kind of sliding into the shallower area, feeding on bait before they move south off the Carolinas. We also see that, look at the wave heights. We can pull the wave heights off the boat, and we can pull depth. We can pull a lot of real-time data that helps us both with our weather reporting clearly, because every one of our boats with Starlink becomes a weather buoy, where we're getting real-time depth and water temperature. What we're actually really going to use as soon as our boats get back out there, if we have cloud cover for 2 or 3 days, and these satellite shots, by the way, I'm only showing you a satellite shot from February 5th because a lot of these track lines are February 5th. But if we have clouds for the next 2 or 3 days, we're not going to have recent updates. We use the real-time data coming off our boats to actually see when they find the break, where the break might be. Did anything change from the last time everyone got out? And that's kind of the biggest thing we do. We're tracking all season long this water so that when we do have 4 or 5 days of bad weather and no one can get out, so we have no real-time intel, or when we have 4 or 5 days of cloud cover, if we're tracking it and kind of getting a good idea how fast it's moving and coming back up here, there's not a lot of members, there's not a lot of boaters who can get to this water, but we're tracking it move day in, day out. We know that this eddy is going to give us at least a month and a half more of good fishing. It's going to spin like this, and they all spin clockwise. It's going to spin like this, and it's going to work right along the edge, and it's going to put good water inshore, and maybe we'll see some more yellowfins up with squid a little closer for folks than going to the canyon. But it's going to work right through the canyons and right down the edges. We've seen it for decades. That's what they do. There's no interaction with the Gulf Stream that might pull it away. So we watch and we predict. And right now, folks are asking, like, how long are we going to have the yellowfin around? If this eddy and the way it's holding together, we're talking another easily 5 to 6 weeks of good fishing right down this edge in range of everybody else. Let's touch a little bit about inshore bluefin. Now, we know, obviously, the bluefin season's closed right now. It's catch and release. We don't have as much coverage in that because people just aren't yet comfortable catching and releasing. But if I just go to our navigation chart so we could just see some of the more inshore bluefin, we do have people looking around. There are random bluefins being caught. Most of it, there's some activity up here. If I look at our observations, we have the HA buoy over here. We've got boats fishing in here kind of every day. Some days are better bites than others. Some days are slower than others. But there's bluefin up in between the lanes, and this is going to, here's the lane, the shipping lanes that we talk about. Right now, they're between the lanes up in here. There's Little Italy area in the slough. There will be bluefins up and all in this area. And look, yes, we have to release them, but there's going to be good fishing for this is going to turn on any week now, and that's going to last right until December, like it did last year. For some of our, as you know, some of the folks down to the south here, you had fishing right into January. Hopefully, fingers crossed, and we don't know nothing. We don't have any inside information. Somehow we get one extra fish. But look, you can catch and release. You can go catch meat, bottom fishing, catch and release some tuna fish. It's already started. There's fish in here. It's been in here for about 2 weeks now. It's on and off, but you can make an effort there. Particularly, by the way, as we're talking weather and as we're talking northerly winds, northeast winds, remember, you fishing off of Long Island, if you've got a hard north or northeast and you only have to go 10, 15 miles, that's 20 miles here. It's going to be a little rough when you get here, but most of your ride out, even with a 20 knot north winds, it's going to be behind you. Once you get about 15 off, it's going to be not bad at all. You're fishing in the lee of the wind. So all these folks are definitely going to fish this week. We had some bigger bluefins off of Shinnecock. We've had some action off of the CIA grounds. There's going to be bluefins off of Point Judith. There are, if you see in here, these are where the squid draggers are working. We talked about that with the chlorophyll shot. There's nice water up here. The squid commercial boats are up here, and there's giants in this area as well. There's a lot of options and opportunities. There's a lot of weather right now. We really saw the 44 years we've been chartering. It was the worst August we've ever seen in weather. There's been a ton of northeast this whole week. It's at it again. It's going to clear up. Definitely see a great weather pattern coming. I'm sure of it. Well, we'll get like 4 or 5 beautiful days in a row. We need to be ready. There's going to be plenty of fish around. Believe it or not, most people don't realize this. Mahis. September is really the month where mahis really shine, and they'll be up inside the mud hole. They'll be up inside the mud hole here. There were mahis just caught recently at around Habs, which is very close to Montauk. They'll be down on the Cigar. They'll be all along on the pots everywhere, and the wahoos too. Basically, are gonna shine in the next week or two. So we got a lot to look forward to. We're happy to kick this off. Going over a little bit of the past, going over big weather discussion, and look at that water. We'll be back next week, hopefully with a lot better weather and a lot more reports. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.
Now let's check in with Jim Hutchinson from New Jersey. Jim?
Hey, thanks, Tim. And of course, thanks to Adam, Captain Dean, and the entire Canyon Runner crew for offering us that glimpse, that sneak peek into their Canyon Runner intel, that membership only that you can get over at canyonrunner.com. Now, every week here at thefisherman.com, we also do an offshore report that's compiled by Tom Pagliaroli, where he provides a weekly analysis based on last week's catch all the way into the weekend to provide some of the latest intel when you're looking at trying to forecast your weekend at the edge for the weekend coming up. Now, as the Canyon Runner crew kind of told you with the weather, it's looking a little bit dicey. Certainly not for you center console guys, but if you're in a bigger sport fish, for sure. But from the Baltimore to the Hudson, building Friday into Sunday from 3 to 5s to 3 to 6s, finally 5 to 6s. Now, we'll also piggyback on the Canyon Runner report with some other intel from Tom P. He reports that the Bacardi has been smoking hot for yellowfin, with other areas such as the Triple Rex also providing some good quality shots at yellowfin. Big eye are still on the prowl in the Hudson, while white marlin, it's been an exceptional season. 2025 might go down as one of the best seasons for white marlin, and that continues all the way down into the Wilmington Canyon. Now, if we run north to south, talk to our local tackle shops, Phil at the Tackle Box said, quote, just a great chunk for yellowfin at the Bacardi, while also reporting chicken to gaffer mahi around the pots, weeds, and other flotsam in the vicinity of the glory hole. Same thing we heard from Liam at the Real Seed, who advised trolling feathers, daisy chains, and or cedar plugs for those mixed-size mahi at the mid-range and offshore canyons. In recent weeks, those mahi have also been reported at the farms. We heard that several weeks ago, although just like a farm where you take all the crops out, it might be real good at the farm on one day, 2 weeks later, not so. Maybe with this northeast, this easterly blow, might bring in some more mahi along the inshore mid-range grounds. I believe the inshore forecast, it's supposed to blow northwest by Sunday, flattens it out, so maybe we might see some more mahi in tight along the Jersey shore. Just make sure to pack the live well with peanut bunker. If you're going for those mahi, a livey will certainly do the trick. It's also good on the yellowfin grounds. And of course, if you're gunning for some of those mahi on spinning outfits, make sure you bring some of those tsunami split tails. Jason from Fisherman Supply also gave a thumbs up on that yellowfin chunk bite at the Bacardi, but added as well that the southwest corner of the Hudson is also coughing up some mixed-size yellowfin. If you're on the hunt for big eye, Jason suggests a black-purple bomber CD30 on the troll around the Hudson 100 square. Got a note from a reader, Stew Dog, let me know that they got in on the yellowfin bite at the edge last week on the chunk, throwing peanuts into the mix as well. Again, with all these peanut bunker loading up in our estuaries and our canals and lagoons, make sure you load the live well if you're heading offshore as well. Down into Ocean City, Billy Wiggins from Fanatics in Ocean City said it was pretty quiet down his way last week, but he's getting some building intel hinting of building numbers of yellowfin in the Poor Man's, Wilmington, and Baltimore canyons. Meanwhile, down into Cape May, Nick at Hands 2 Bait and Tackle said upping the troll speed to around 7 knots produced an 85-pound wahoo for one of their customers. So if you're on the troll, you want to dig a little bit deeper and a little bit faster for some of those wahoo. You can look up wahoo at thefisherman.com. Remember a couple of years ago, Darren Doris did an excellent article on wahoo fishing if you want to figure out how to catch some of those speedsters on the troll just inside the canyon grounds. Don't forget about those tile fish as well. Randy Halot got his personal best gold last week somewhere along the edge. And again, while I know a lot of folks like to fill the box with tasty tuna and tiles, the 2025 season will go down as one of the better white marlin seasons here along the mid-Atlantic grounds for you folks doing some catch and release targeting of those white marlin. In fact, Jason from South Jersey Marina told us this week that the marlin bite has been especially hot around the 50 line by the Wilmington. Again, as you saw in the Canyon Runner reports this week, as noted, the weather windows this time of year are getting tighter and tighter. So if you're not comfortable in your boat or on your friend's boat and you don't have enough folks to put together a charter, head boats, of course, are running offshore trips from a lot of different ports. I do believe that Miss Barnegat Light runs some trips. Bobby on the Gambler out of Point will run some trips. And I know that the Big Jamaica is doing offshore tuna trips on a regular basis. In fact, as you're seeing this right now on Thursday, September 11th, the Big Jamaica is on a 31-hour trip looking for tuna. Catch them up. We'll check in again next week here with the folks from Canyon Runner and another offshore forecast from the Fisherman Magazine and thefisherman.com.
Now let's check in from Long Island, the boys from East End Angler, Will and Andy.
Thanks, Tim. Guys, report this week, starting our way inshore, working our way midshore. Yep. We have giant bluefin still being caught by the commercial guys, which is great. When it comes to recreational, it's catch and release right now. People are going, getting them on jigs and poppers. We're seeing some seriously large bluefin south of Montauk, Block, all the way up to Martha's Vineyard, Cape Cod, so that's super exciting. Now I guess working our way more towards kind of midshore, we're seeing yellowfin, which is great. In fall, we have chunking season. So I do know of some great reports of basically people catching double-digit yellowfin kind of in the area surrounding the Bacardi, right? So that's super exciting. There's a lot of bait there. People are, basically chunking using light tackle, and that's a ton of fun for the fall.
Yep, exactly. And as Will was saying, guys, this time of year starts to shift from trolling to chunking. But then offshore, really along the canyon, guys, there's some couple good eddies working east to west. That's typically how they go. So really, we've caught some great fish. We had our record 260-pound big eye tuna last weekend, which is freaking awesome. And also about 40 yellowfin, guys. So there are a ton in that water. Look for those temp breaks, look for the chlorophyll levels. Really catching fish on both sides, just on the border.
And where is it moving towards, Andrew? Like we're basically talking about all the way east of kind of like East Atlantis, moving our way west towards. In theory, maybe it goes to West Atlantis. Fishtails in range for
literally exactly right. So so you basically watch the satellite charts, guys, and then depending upon your range of your boat, you wait for your time to strike. And if it gets further west, say you're in western Long Island, then you have a quicker run, and then you can get to the dip and things like that, or even western canyons like Tom's and etc. So anyway, that's our report for this week. Back to you, Tim.
With the offshore report from New England, we have Mike Hatchie.
Hey guys, this is Mike over the Fisherman coming with this week's offshore report. This is a hard time for us here in New England. You have truly the fall run starting, along with guys venturing out to the canyons and doing exceptionally well. This time of year, it's not about the lack of opportunity. It's really about figuring out how to spend your time the wisest and working around the weather. Starting with our more southern reach, I checked it with J&B Tackle, and they're hearing a lot of the same things we've been hearing over the past few weeks. That south of block bite has been dominated by giants, sharks, and some smaller mahi. We're not seeing as much mammal life around, but we're also at the same time not getting many reports about that area. In large part, you have guys focused on the canyons, which will be later on in this report, as well as going to the Cape for the last few weeks for the tournaments that have been happening. That's not to say that those CNR kind of bluefin, the fun size bluefin that everyone enjoys, are around. But it's just the way it is currently. We're just not getting many reports after the closure. And guys are focusing certainly more on the canyons. Working our way north, more towards, and staying on the midshore game, the giant tournaments. Concluded this past week. You had the Bluefin Classic and the Green Harbor Tournament, which will be posting the result above. Certainly I wasn't surprised to see the Team Jigging World and Robbie Taylor up there for third place. Congrats to them, certainly, but they did exceptionally well. A lot of competition and a lot of fish were caught, so that's certainly good to see. Other than the tournaments, it's keeping with that midshore bite, I did speak with Riley Wright of Dying Breed Sport Fishing, and along with his clients, they shed the big 130s and 80 wines that typically are seen for going after giants, and they used the lighter conventional gear and jig and pop gear, really. And they got a really nice 98 inch fish. Really puts your jigging system to the ultimate test, and honestly, it's a very fun fishery to get on. Certainly you're going to want to have and team up with a few buddies to do that, because those fish are brutal, especially with the lighter tackle. You're not fishing out of the rod holder, you're not doing it out of a stand-up gear, you're going for that true exceptional bite. And certainly he's got availability amongst with other captains to go and do that. Truly, this is the time of year to do it. Up until probably mid-October, where it's still friendly to fish out, I would say definitely get on that. Now, working with our ways to the canyons, if you haven't heard that the past 3 weeks have been exceptional post-storm, you're living under a rock. There's a lot of excitement with a mixed bag of fish. You got certainly big eye, you got yellowfin and mahi, along with the guys that are trolling, those deep swimmers, those Joe shoots. They're picking up some wahoo. The yellowfin themselves averaging around that 50 to 90 pound class. There's some fish in that 100-pound class, some fish in that 20-pound class, but that 50 to 90 pound range has been the norm, I would say. And that's certainly a lot of fun to fight with jigs, but I mean, certainly there's guys doing chunks as well. But jigs and chunks, whether it's be daytime or night. At night, guys are going for swordfish, certainly. That's the typical norm for the Northeast. But at the same time, you have the rods out, you can go for yellowfin on the jig. They have been receiving that pretty well. In terms of the areas, I would look at Veitch Cannon, and I would also look at the fishtails. Veitch is going to be a little bit north and a little bit more towards the Vineyard and Nantucket, and that's going to be easy reach for us, or easier reach. Probably not center console for the next week, it seems. Maybe Saturday and Sunday there might be an opportunity, but it seems more like a bigger boat type deal, unfortunately. But if you can get out there, the bite has been exceptional. You just got to watch those temp breaks. That's the biggest thing. I mean, there was only a 3-degree temp break over at Veitch Canyon, and that's where guys were producing this past week. But I mean, as long as you're watching and mindful of that, I think you've got a good shot. Certainly, I know there's going to be more reports on that, especially in our more southern region. But as of now, that's kind of the down low. I mean, it's really focused on that canyon bite. The midshore we're expecting, don't get me wrong, but it's not been the bite of last year. And I guess for more on that, we'll turn over to our correspondents.
Hey guys, it's Phil here from the Goose Hummock with a little bit of offshore tuna fishing reports. So it's been pretty tough. There's been a couple of tournaments recently. There was the Green Harbour tournament, which ran last week, but I know Henry's doing a report from Fish Northeast, so I'll let him talk about that, as that's his territory. I fished on Sunday in the Cape Cod Bay tournament out of Millway. It was great fun. Weather was god awful. I think there was 8 hookups. Congratulations to Peter and Will, who won it with a 584 dressed, I think. But it was a tough bite in the bay, and the bay generally has been tough. There's some fish in there, they're all enormous. They're all like 600 plus. There's been a few fish up on Stellwagen as well. And as we move round the corner, down east, backside's been relatively quiet, but as you move further off, unfortunately, with the change in recreational regulations, of course the wreck fish have turned up. So further out east, people have been catching them on the trawl, keeping on ballyhoo. We had a 62 when we were bait fishing, 30 miles offshore the other day. What you got to remember, guys, is you can actually target them, you can actually catch them, you just need to release them. So what I'd say within that, if you are going to be bait fishing out there and there's small fish around, please use a circle hook so you can get a safe release on a tuna. If you're showing bars and things, you're normally going to get them in the mouth anyway. Just be careful, release the fish, and you're perfectly legally doing so fishing-wise, okay? The canyons, we've had an incredible bite out, kind of Beach Atlantis, Hydro way. We had an amazing trip. We absolutely nailed it. The yellowfin was off the chart. We had big eye. We had a 400-pound blue marlin. We had a great trip, mainly trolling the green stick with bars and daisy chains supporting it. For the first time ever, it actually outperformed ballyhoo. Ballyhoo, I think we had 1 fish out, like 70, 80 fish, I think. So, but that was really good. But the weather's come in now. There's that storm coming up from Florida. There's a possibility in the next couple of weeks it's going to get like 30 foot every 15 seconds. I looked on buoy weather. So I'm not really looking for another canyon window now, and probably till the 20th, 21st of September. So it's going to be more near shore. So have a go at that. The dragger bites, I'm sure you've all seen the videos on Instagram. If you do try and go and fish the draggers, be very, very careful, because those guys can't slow down and you could get yourselves in a lot of trouble if you get too close, okay? So be very, very respectful of the guys that are actually commercially fishing on the draggers. And it's a commercial game. There's no small fish under those things, okay? So in summary, I would say East of Chatham, recreationally, is your best chance to have some fun. Haven't really seen, I fished a Regal Sword last week. We had 1 boil of small fish. My boat, we didn't, we were 400 yards away. We were too slow to get there, and we had baits in the water anyway. But the run and gun game, you will be able to get on them. Bait fishing, like I say, please use circle hooks. I use the Charlie Browns. It's a great hook in my opinion. Use a circle so you can get them in the corner of the jaw and get a safe release. Get out there, have fun. It's just getting going, ironically. So next couple of months, I think the tuna fishing is only going to get better. Thanks very much.
Remember to like and subscribe, and let us know what you think of our offshore report. We'll see you here next week at thefisherman.com.